She was standing in a room made of light, surrounded by souls she'd known for thousands of years, and they were planning her next life on Earth. Her future husband was there. Her children who weren't born yet were there. Even the person who would hurt her most was there. And they were all agreeing, all choosing, all designing the life she's living right now. Imagine standing in a place where walls don't exist, but boundaries do, where time doesn't flow, but everything has order, where bodies aren't needed, but presence is felt. Your awareness, pure consciousness, and around you, others, beings of light, souls, some brighter, some dimmer, all radiating love and purpose. You're gathered here for a reason, an important reason. You're about to make choices that will shape decades. You're about to volunteer for challenges that will break you and rebuild you. You're about to select the people who will teach you your hardest lessons, and you're doing it willingly, eagerly, because you understand something that gets forgotten once you're born, that Earth is school, that pain is curriculum, that the people who hurt you most are often the ones who love you enough to play the villain in your story. Her name is Claire. She's 41, lives in Seattle, divorced, 2 kids, works as a project manager, normal life, normal struggles. But something has always bothered her, a question she can't shake. Why did she marry him? Her ex-husband Daniel. Everyone warned her, her friends, her family, even her gut, all saying the same thing. He's not right for you. He'll hurt you. Don't do this. But she did it anyway. Married him at 23, had 2 kids with him, spent 15 years in a relationship that was hard from the start. He wasn't abusive, wasn't terrible, just wrong. Wrong for her, wrong in ways that made every day a struggle. Different values, different goals, different ways of seeing the world. They divorced 3 years ago, amicable enough, co-parenting okay. But Claire still doesn't understand. Why did she choose him? Why did she ignore all the red flags? Why did she spend 15 years with someone who was clearly not her match? And it's not just Daniel. Her whole life feels like this. Like she's following a script she didn't write, making choices that don't quite make sense, ending up in situations that feel both random and destined at the same time. Her oldest child, Emma, has special needs, autism, high functioning, but challenging. Claire loves her desperately, would never wish her different. But sometimes, in quiet moments, she wonders, why me? Why did I get the child who needs more? Who requires so much extra attention and energy and patience? Her younger child, Max, is easier, typical, but he and Emma fight constantly. The dynamic between them is hard, exhausting. Claire spends half her life mediating, managing, trying to keep peace, and then there's her job. She's good at it, successful, but she doesn't love it, never has. She wanted to be an artist, a painter, but somehow ended up in corporate project management. Practical, stable, safe, but not her dream. Her whole life feels like someone else designed it, like she's living a plan she didn't create. And 6 months ago, something happened that made this feeling impossible to ignore. Claire was meditating, just a simple guided meditation she found online, and at the end, the guide said something. Imagine yourself before you were born. Imagine choosing this life. What would you have chosen and why? And Claire had a vision. Not imagination, a vision. She was somewhere else. A place of light. And she wasn't alone. She was with others, planning, discussing, choosing. The vision lasted maybe 10 seconds, but it shook her, because it felt real, more real than memory. Like she was accessing something true, something she'd forgotten. She tried to recreate the experience, meditated again, tried to go back, but couldn't. The door had opened and closed, giving her just a glimpse, just enough to know there was something there. That's when she found a regression therapist, someone who specialized in life between lives regression, someone who could take her not just to past lives, but to the space between, the planning stage, the pre-birth meeting, the place where souls choose their next incarnation. And now she's here, lying in a chair, eyes closed, breathing deep, about to discover if the vision was real, if her life really was planned, if she really did choose everything, even the hard parts, even the pain, even Daniel. The transition is gentle, like floating. Claire feels herself lifting, not physically. Her body stays in the chair, but her awareness rises up, out, beyond, and then she's there, the place from her vision, but clearer now, more detailed, more real. It's not a physical space. There are no walls, no floor, no ceiling, just presence. just being, just consciousness existing in a field of light. And she's not alone. There are others here. She can sense them, feel them, see them somehow. Even though they don't have bodies, they're just points of awareness, spheres of light, different colors, different intensities, different energies. And she recognizes them, not with her mind, with her soul. These are her people, her soul group, beings she's traveled with across many lifetimes, playing different roles, learning together, growing together. One light approaches, brighter than the others, warmer. This is her guide, her teacher, the being who's been with her across countless incarnations, helping, supporting, guiding from behind the veil. Welcome back, the guide says, not with voice, with thought, with direct knowing. Are you ready to remember? Claire, or the consciousness that is Claire, nods. Yes, she's ready. The guide gestures, and the space shifts. They're now in what looks like a meeting room, except it's made of light, and instead of chairs, there are just spaces. Places where consciousness can gather, can focus, can plan. This is where you came before you were born, as Claire, the guide explains. This is where you planned your current life, where you chose your challenges, your lessons, your relationships, everything. Claire feels a mix of emotions, excitement, fear, curiosity. I chose everything. Not everything. Some things are fluid, some choices you make as you go, but the main framework, the big pieces, the key people, the major challenges, yes, you chose those. Why would I choose challenges? Why would I choose pain? The guide's energy softens. Because that's how souls grow. That's how consciousness evolves. Not through comfort, through challenge, through friction, through learning what you're made of by being tested. Another light appears. This one Claire recognizes immediately. She doesn't know how, but she knows. This is Daniel, her ex-husband, before he was Daniel, in his soul form. Hello, Claire, he says. His energy is different here, kinder, clearer, without all the human stuff, without the ego and fear and defense mechanisms, just pure soul, pure essence. Daniel, Claire is confused. What are you doing here? We're going to show you, the guide says. Show you the meeting, the planning session. The moment when you and Daniel agreed to be husband and wife in your current life. The scene shifts. Time rewinds, or maybe time doesn't exist here, and they just moving to a different point in the eternal now. Either way, Claire sees herself, her soul, younger, somehow, less experienced. This is before she was born as Claire. This is when she was planning, preparing, choosing. She's with her guide, discussing her next incarnation, what she wants to learn, what she needs to work on. I want to learn independence. Soul Claire is saying, in my last several lives, I've been too dependent, too focused on pleasing others, too afraid to stand on my own. I want to learn to trust myself, to make my own decisions, to be okay being alone. The guide nods. That's a valuable lesson. And it's not an easy one. Independence is learned through having to depend on yourself, which means you'll need situations that force you to stand alone. I know, Soul Claire says. I'm ready. I can handle it. You'll need a catalyst, the guide continues. Someone who will push you toward independence by not being the partner you need. Someone who will be present but not supportive in the way you want. Someone who will force you to develop your own strength because you can't rely on theirs. Soul Claire considers this a marriage that doesn't work. Exactly. A relationship that looks right on the surface but doesn't fulfill you. So you have to learn to fulfill yourself. That's when Daniel's soul appears. I'll do it, he says. I'll be that catalyst. Soul Claire looks at him. Why would you volunteer for that? It sounds hard, for both of us. Daniel's energy is full of love. Because I love you. Because we're soul family. Because we help each other grow. I need to learn my own lessons too. About letting go. About not trying to control. About accepting that I can't be everything for someone. This will teach me that. And it will teach you independence. We'll help each other. But it will hurt, Soul Claire says. We'll get divorced. We'll fail. It's not failure. The guide interjects. It's completion. You'll be together as long as you need to be. Long enough to learn what you need to learn. And then you'll part, amicably, with love, having served each other's growth. Soul Claire and Soul Daniel look at each other, communicating without words, agreeing without speaking. Yes, they'll do this. They'll be husband and wife. They'll struggle. They'll eventually divorce, but it will all be on purpose. All be part of the plan. All be for growth. There's more, the guide says. You want children in this life. 2 children, but not easy children. You want to learn patience, compassion, unconditional love, the kind that doesn't depend on someone being easy or convenient or what you expected. 2 more lights appear, smaller, younger, children's souls, not yet incarnated, waiting for their turn. One light is bright, complex, layered. This is Emma. Before she was Emma, I'm going to come in with challenges. Emma's soul says, I'm going to have autism. I'm going to need more, require more, push you more. It's part of my journey. I need to experience that form, that way of being, and you need to learn to love someone who doesn't love you back in typical ways, who doesn't show appreciation like you expect, who takes everything you give and still needs more. Soul Claire feels the weight of this. That sounds really hard. It will be, Emma agrees, but you're strong enough, and it will teach you what you need to learn, that love isn't about getting back, it's about giving freely, without expectation, without needing to be seen or appreciated or validated. Just loving because you love, that's real love. And you haven't mastered that yet. The other light is simpler, calmer. This is Max. Before he was Max, I'll be the easier one, Max's soul says, to give you balance, to show you that you can have a child who's typical, so you don't lose yourself in the hardness. But Emma and I won't get along. We'll fight, we'll struggle, and you'll have to mediate, constantly. That will teach you more patience, more creativity, more ability to hold space for conflict without trying to fix everything. Soul Claire looks at these 2 lights, her future children, souls agreeing to be born, to face challenges, to teach her, to learn their own lessons, and she feels love, deep, eternal love. Yes, she wants them, both of them, even knowing how hard it will be. What about my career? Soul Claire asks. I want to be an artist. I want to paint. The guide's energy shifts. You will paint, just not as a career, not in this life. In this life, you need stability, need security, because you'll be a single mother, need to support your children alone. You can't do that as a struggling artist. So you'll take a practical path, project management. It will feel wrong, feel like giving up on your dream, but it will give you what you need, the resources to care for your children, the structure to stay afloat, and you'll paint on the side, in stolen moments, in quiet hours, that will teach you to create for the love of creating, not for success, not for recognition, just for the joy of it. That's a lesson to Soul Claire. Sees it all now, the whole plan, the whole design, every piece fitting together, every challenge serving a purpose, every relationship teaching something. When will I remember this? Soul Claire asks. When will I know that I chose all this? When you're ready, the guide says. When you've learned enough that remembering will help instead of harm. Some people never remember, they just live, learn, grow. That's okay too, but you'll remember, around 41, after your divorce, after you've developed the independence you came to learn. That's when you'll be ready to see the bigger picture, to understand that nothing was random, everything was chosen, everything was love. The scene shifts again. Soul Claire is preparing to incarnate, to be born, to enter the body of baby Claire being formed in her mother's womb. Last chance, the guide says. You can change your mind, choose an easier life, choose different people, choose less challenge. Soul Claire considers. For a moment, she's tempted, because she can see it all, see how hard it will be, see the tears, the struggles, the moments of despair, the divorce, the exhaustion, the feeling of failing, but she also sees the growth, the strength, the wisdom, the person she become, and she knows she has to do this, has to choose this, because this is her path, her journey, her evolution. I'm ready, Soul Claire says. I choose this life, I choose Daniel, I choose Emma, I choose Max, I choose the challenges, all of it. Let's do this. The guide wraps her in light, in love, in blessing. You're so brave, so strong. You'll forget this, forget me, forget everything, but I'll be with you, always, guiding, supporting, sending signs, and when you're 41, sitting in a regression therapist's office, I'll help you remember, help you see, help you understand that you chose everything, that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And then Soul Claire descends, down, down, into matter, into density, into the tiny body forming in her mother's womb, and the forgetting begins. Claire sees her birth, her childhood, her adolescence, all of it from this higher perspective, seeing not just what happened but why it happened, seeing the plan unfolding, seeing her soul's choices playing out in physical reality. She sees meeting Daniel at 22, the instant attraction, the feeling that this was meant to be, and she understands now, it was meant to be. Not because he was her soulmate, but because he was her soul teacher, the one she'd agreed to marry, the one who would teach her independence by not being what she needed. She sees their wedding, both of them hopeful, both of them believing it would work, neither of them consciously remembering they'd planned this, planned to struggle, planned to eventually part. She sees Emma's birth, the diagnosis, the acceptance, the years of therapy and struggle and love, and she understands now. Emma chose this, chose autism, chose to be the challenging child. Not as punishment, as curriculum, for both of them. She sees Max's birth, the relief of having an easier child, but also the guilt, the constant comparison, the fighting between siblings, and she understands now, this too was planned, this too was chosen, this too was teaching her. She sees the divorce, the sadness but also the relief, the guilt but also the freedom, the sense of failure but also the sense of completion. And she understands now, it wasn't failure, it was graduation. They both learned what they needed to learn, and now they could move on. And she sees herself now, at 41, finally ready to remember, finally ready to understand, finally ready to see that her life wasn't random, wasn't unfair, wasn't a series of mistakes. It was a plan, a beautiful, challenging, perfectly designed plan, made by her, for her, with the help of souls who loved her enough to play difficult roles, who volunteered to be the catalyst, the challenge, the teacher. Daniel wasn't her enemy, he was her gift. Emma wasn't her burden, she was her blessing. Max wasn't just the easier kid, he was her balance, her reminder that not everything has to be hard, and the life she lived, the choices she made, the struggles she faced, none of it was wrong. All of it was right. All of it was exactly what she needed, exactly what she chose, exactly what would make her who she's becoming. Claire feels something breaking open in her chest, not breaking like damage, breaking like a shell cracking, like something that was closed opening, like light flooding into darkness. And she understands, this is forgiveness, not forgiving others, forgiving herself, for every choice she questioned, for every moment she felt like she failed, for every time she wondered why she wasn't enough. Because she was enough, she was always enough. She was doing exactly what she came here to do, learning exactly what she came to learn, growing exactly as planned. The guide appears beside her. Do you see now? Do you understand? Yes, Claire whispers, and she's crying, but they're not sad tears, they're relief tears, gratitude tears, coming home tears. You did so well, the guide says. You're still doing well. The plan isn't over. There's more to come, more lessons, more growth, more relationships that will teach you. But now you know, now you remember. And that changes everything. What do I do with this knowledge? Claire asks. How do I live knowing I chose everything? You live with compassion, the guide says. For yourself, for others, for Daniel, who played his role perfectly, for Emma, who's teaching you more than any teacher ever could, for Max, who's showing you balance, for everyone in your life, past, present, and future. They're all here by agreement, all here to help you, all here because love is bigger than you think, bigger than one lifetime, bigger than comfort, bigger than ease. Claire sees the web, the connection, all the souls she's ever known, all the roles they've played, all the agreements they've made, and she sees that she's part of others' plans too, that she's teaching others, playing roles in their stories, being catalyst and teacher and challenge and gift. It's all connected, all intentional, all love. Claire opens her eyes. The therapist's office, present time, but she's different, fundamentally changed, because she remembers now, remembers choosing, remembers planning, remembers agreeing to everything. I chose Daniel, she says, still processing. We agreed, before we were born, to marry, to struggle, to divorce, all of it on purpose, all of it planned. The therapist nods quietly. How does that feel? It feels like forgiveness, Claire says. I've been so angry at myself, for marrying wrong, for staying too long, for wasting 15 years, but I didn't waste anything. I was doing exactly what I planned to do. learning exactly what I came to learn. As she talks, the pieces keep falling into place, her whole life making sense now, not as a series of mistakes, as a curriculum, a carefully designed course of study. Emma's autism wasn't bad luck. It was a choice. Emma's choice, for her own soul's journey, and Claire's choice to be her mother, to learn patience and unconditional love and strength she didn't know she had. Max being easier wasn't compensation. It was balance, intentional balance. So Claire didn't burn out. So she had hope, so she could see that she was capable of typical parenting too. Her career wasn't selling out. It was practical planning, knowing she'd need stability, knowing she'd be single, knowing she'd need to support 2 kids alone. Even her desire to paint, that wasn't unfulfilled. That was the lesson. Learning to create for joy, not for career, not for success, just for the love of creating. That's purer, more real, more aligned with why art exists at all. Over the following weeks, Claire integrates the regression, lives with the memory, tests it against her current experience, and things shift, change, heal. Her relationship with Daniel improves, not romantically. They're still divorced, but the resentment fades, the anger dissolves. She sees him differently now, not as the man who wasn't enough, as the soul who loved her enough to play the catalyst, to be the reason she had to become independent, to teach her what she needed to learn. She calls him, "Thank you," she says. "For what?" Daniel sounds confused. "For being who you were, for teaching me what I needed to learn." There's a pause. "I don't really understand, but you're welcome." Claire laughs. He doesn't remember, doesn't know about soul contracts and pre-birth planning. And that's okay. He doesn't need to know. His soul knows, and that's enough. Her relationship with Emma deepens. Claire stops seeing her as challenging, starts seeing her as a teacher. Every hard moment becomes an opportunity. Every meltdown becomes a lesson in patience. Every communication struggle becomes practice in unconditional love. And Emma responds, not by becoming easier, but by relaxing. Like she can feel the shift. Feel that her mother isn't fighting her anymore, isn't wishing she was different, is just accepting her, loving her, exactly as she is. Max benefits too. With less focus on fixing Emma, Claire has more energy for him, more attention, more presence, and the fighting between the kids doesn't trigger her as much. She can mediate without stress, can hold space without trying to control, can let them work it out while still keeping them safe. Her career feels different too. Claire stops resenting it, stops feeling like she settled, starts seeing it as the gift it is. Stability, security, the ability to take care of her family, and she paints more. In early mornings, in late evenings, in stolen moments, not trying to make a career of it, just creating for joy, for process, for love, and the paintings are better, freer, more authentic, because she's not trying to prove anything, not trying to succeed, just expressing, just being, just letting creativity flow through her, because that's what creativity is meant to do. Claire starts seeing everyone differently, the friend who betrayed her, the boss who's difficult, the neighbor who complains, all of them potentially playing roles, all of them potentially here by agreement, all of them potentially teaching her something she doesn't know for sure. Can't access everyone's soul contracts, but knowing it's possible changes how she responds. She leads with curiosity instead of judgment, with compassion instead of anger, with the question, what am I supposed to learn from this, instead of why is this happening to me? One day, she's with Emma at a doctor's appointment. Emma is having a hard day, melting down in the waiting room. Other parents staring, judging. Claire can feel their thoughts. Can't you control your child? What kind of mother are you? Old Claire would have felt shame, embarrassment, failure. But new Claire, Claire, who remembers, takes a breath, kneels down beside Emma, whispers, I see you, I love you, we're okay. Take your time. And Emma calms, not instantly, but gradually. And Claire realizes, Emma doesn't need her to fix this. Emma needs her to hold space, to stay calm, to love without condition. That's the whole lesson. That's what Claire came to learn. And she's learning it, finally, fully. That night, after the kids are in bed, Claire paints. A new painting, different from anything she's done before. It's abstract, swirls of color, light and dark, intermingling. And she realizes what it is. It's souls, souls planning, souls choosing, souls agreeing to help each other grow. She paints Daniel's soul and her own, separate but connected. She paints Emma's soul, bright and complex. She paints Max's soul, calm and steady. She paints her guide, watching over them all. She paints the web of connection that links them all together. When it's done, she stands back, looks at it, and feels complete. This is her story. This is her life. Not as a tragedy, as a masterpiece. Carefully planned, beautifully designed, perfectly executed. She hangs the painting in her bedroom, where she can see it every morning, every night. A reminder, a anchor, a truth she never wants to forget again. You chose this. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Everyone in your life is here by agreement. Nothing is random. Everything is love. Months pass. Claire continues to integrate, to live from this new understanding. And her life doesn't become perfect, doesn't become easy. Challenges still happen, struggles still arise, but she meets them differently now. With trust instead of fear, with curiosity instead of resistance, with the knowing that even the hard stuff is serving her, teaching her, making her who she came here to become. One night, she's meditating, just sitting quietly, and she feels her guide, feels that presence she remembered in the regression. And she hears, not with ears but with knowing, you're doing so well. We're so proud of you. Keep going, keep growing, keep choosing love. That's all you have to do. Claire smiles, opens her eyes, and whispers back, thank you, for being with me, for guiding me, for helping me remember. I won't forget again. And she means it. She won't forget. She'll carry this knowing for the rest of her life, through whatever comes next, through whatever challenges arise, through whatever relationships develop. She chose this, she's choosing this, and she keep choosing it, because this is her path, her journey, her beautiful, challenging, perfectly planned adventure in consciousness, and she's grateful for all of it, for Daniel, for Emma, for Max, for every teacher, every challenge, every moment of struggle and growth, because it's all gift, it's all grace, it's all exactly what she needed, exactly what she chose. Exactly what love looks like when it's big enough to span lifetimes and brave enough to choose challenge over comfort in service of growth. If you've ever wondered why you chose the people you did, why your hardest relationships feel strangely meant to be, why your challenges seem perfectly designed to teach you what you most need to learn, maybe you planned it all before you were born. Maybe the people who hurt you love you more than you know. Maybe every struggle is a gift you gave yourself. And if this story opens something in you that feels like remembering instead of learning, subscribe to continue exploring the mysteries of why we choose the lives we live.